Okie dokie. We are live. It is Saturday. It is overcast. And I felt I wanted to have something treaty. Treat-like. And it's definitely a treat. I got a package of these that were smashed to hell in being mailed to me from Amazon. I don't know why people just use paper bags to mail little paper boxes with fragile things in them, but despite them being smashed, I did get an idea of what they were supposed to taste like. Now, it was my first time, so when I saw them all squashed together and all like flat like that, I thought that was part of the squashing experience. So I did order them again, and although a couple of them were damaged overall, it was like, oh, they are supposed to be this thin. Awesome. And somebody here in one of my shows showed me the right way to heat it up, which is not putting it over your cup of coffee because it takes forever. Nuke it. Not for very long. Like one big one, it took 10 seconds, I think, and it melted all of the caramel inside, and you knew it was done because it bubbled up in the middle. Now, I'm not going to do that with these because they're too tiny, but I do have hot tea, which is just sitting here drying up in front of my eyes, so I'm going to dunk. A habit I stopped many years ago, but worth renewing for this. Now, I got these, not in the mail, I got them at TJ Maxx. They were just about to expire, September 2025. We're now in October. I bought them anyway, figuring, I know how to revive these. Well, go ahead. But they're okay. And it gave me an idea for another dessert. I just bought a Belgian waffle maker. Waffle iron. It is so cool. It's nice and deep. It's got a little groove to catch any overrun, which comes right out with your waffle. It makes a nice sized waffle that breaks into 4 little corners. It's adorable. But it occurred to me when I make my usual Belgian waffle batter, it's got vanilla in it. It's got that fragrance that just makes you want to eat a bunch of them. Usually the fragrance that brings you to a Ben & Jerry's making fresh cones. That's the magic ingredient, the vanilla heating up. And the sugar, of course. In any case, I thought of doing a Belgian waffle and then melting some caramel as the kind of stuff used in this, and do one of those, let's make this a dessert waffle, which is strange for me because even now as an adult, aside from these cookies, I prefer my waffles. Well, I like the vanilla, but I also like savory. I like savory a lot. I'd say at least equal to the amount I like sweet. If I have too much sweet, I need something savory to balance it. That is sweet. Okay, we're going to stretch that out a little bit. I'll leave that last one there. I should have stopped at 3. It said 4 is the serving, so, I'm treating myself. But we are about other things here. Pretty much everything under the sun. Okay, not everything. Not everything interests me anymore. But we do have our cards. And I'm going to do a card of the day. Now that I'm on YouTube. old days when we were intuitive. Well, it says, ask and it is given. And although this is true, most people can't see that. And indeed, while you're human, it's really hard to see it. But the moment you ask for anything, think of the universe as just waiting to serve you. The problem is getting in the same vibration so that you can give it the pathway to enter your reality. But the minute you start wanting something and you don't get bummed out about wanting it, like, saying, well, it'd be better if I had this. Like, no, just enjoy part of the wanting. But anyway, we're going to just go ahead and do a card here. And today's card is, so important. This is the part people don't like if they haven't been paying attention to their vibes. And it's easy. Like I said, I get suckered into the internet all the time. I have to okay, you've had enough time looking at this kind of thing. Switch the channel, switch the vibe. You need to rise, not go, this sucks. It's too easy to do that. So since that's really the human's natural proclivity toward it takes work to rise. Going down, getting angry, getting afraid. These are like the most base primal instincts and the easiest to incite. That's where you see the difference between people who have a brain that is being actively used to control the reality and those who just keep chasing after that emotional stuff. It's like, okay, go chase it. But if you want a better life, if you want things to improve on any level, you have to get higher. You have to rise. You have to reach a little harder for the feelings that come through the heart. A little harder for checking out where is your will really at. Who really do you want to be? Even if you don't like what you see right now, what can you do better? What would you like to see yourself doing or being or having? And then using your head, using your intelligence to catch yourself in a negative vibration, bad cycle, and say, okay, it does feel better to be angry than depressed, but I don't want to stay angry either because that just drains your energy and your body pays the price. Anything done through your lower chakras, your lower energy centers, it wears on your physical body. So to improve your physical body, you need to learn how to go heart up, heart to spirit, source, whatever word works for you. If you like the word God, God is all, right? Source is everything, providing us with our everythings we ask for. It's all in an energetic form, though. So, yeah, learning how to be a human, using our brains, for us instead of letting them run amok against us or in circles. It takes effort. So every time you succeed in catching yourself going from a negative thought to a better feeling thought, and you feel your energy rise and get lighter, pat yourself on the back, congratulate yourself, because we can go days and days of not going there, just focusing on the crap. So the card says, nothing happens without my having invited it. You invite everything, and that's why you want to pay attention to how you feel and what you're thinking about. Everything we invite comes to us, and if we want something like winning a lottery, if you are just sitting there thinking about what you don't have and why you have to win the lottery, you can just push yourself right out of the field there. You're not going to win the lottery. Your thoughts, your feelings, it's all about the fear of not having instead of the joy of having. So that's what I mean by changing your vibration. If you want to win something, you've got to see yourself as winning it. You've got to believe it's possible, not just a hope pinned on a star somewhere. It's your energy. When you ask for it, God says, okay. There you go. As long as it's not trying to change another person. Everyone's under their own sovereign domain, okay? Your own self. No one can walk in your shoes, although they can imagine what it's like, become empathetic, but they can't actually experience what you're experiencing. So to that degree, no one's ever going to completely understand you. They may come close in lots of areas, but you're you. You're one of a kind. You're here to be one of a kind. So if you want something, think about how much it would feel, how good it would feel to have that. Don't sit in the craving, that's the wrong vibe. More of the, I can see it happening. I just know this can happen. It feels good here, and it feels good everywhere. Yeah, I am filled with joy when I think about me accomplishing this or me having this. And that's like just opening the pipeline of all the energy that God is sending in your direction to manifest in this planet. It's right there, waiting to pour out as soon as you get out of your own way. And you're plugging up your own pipelines if you let yourself sit in downward feeling thoughts. So when you understand the law of attraction, you're never surprised by what occurs in your experience. You understand that through your own thought process. You've invited every bit of it in. Nothing can occur in your life experience without your invitation of it through your thought. So it starts with, what do you want? Even if the answer is, well, I want $1 million, or I want to win the lottery. All right, but why? Don't get all like high-minded, and I'm going to help the world, I'm going to help my family, I'm going to take care of this, I'm going to take care of that. Like you're waiting for God to approve your choices and how you spend your money. God doesn't care how you spend your money. Once it's your money, but you're not going to get that money unless you believe you can have that money. That's really more or less what they're talking about when they talk about a millionaire or billionaire mindset versus a poverty mindset. When you grow up in poverty, it takes a lot of effort to get out of seeing your world through the lens of poverty. You never had 2 nickels to rub together, your parents were poor, you had less than nourishing meals a lot of the time because there wasn't enough money for covering everything to keep your roof over your head, and sometimes you may have even lost that roof. So when you know what that's like, and you feel that pain of not having, it's hard to imagine better. But until you do, when you start to see that you can do something that you want to do and succeed in it, the way will be shown. If you are light enough to let the light in, it is another matching vibration issue. You have to get high. You have to get light to let anything good in. And if you're sitting there ruminating about how poor you are and how it sucks to be poor and you can't see any way out of ever not being poor, you're going to stay there. Your energy is not happy about that. Your energy is like, ugh, this sucks. So you're going to stay right there. Low vibrations, like low vibrations, and it's easy to get stuck in them. Years ago, I used to talk about the earth like a rainbow around it. If you picture the earth, or just like stick with the earth, a round globe, and it's got layers and layers and layers of color, each one a lighter and lighter vibration as it gets further away from our gravitational pull. It's a useful visualization. I'm not saying that's exactly how things are. But the lowest vibration, we usually see it on the red spectrum, okay? The lowest of our rainbow is the red. And think about the things that we associate with the color red. If I use the wrong shade of red in my painting, one of the things that comes to mind very easily is, it looks like blood. And we tend not to be too crazy about that unless we're trying to depict, a gory scene, which I'm never trying to do, but sometimes I have made some bad color moves. We all do. red is often associated with love and anger. Red in the face, embarrassment, rage. Red, when we think of it in a loving term, it's all Valentine-y and, oh, love, red roses, beautiful. But I don't see it used in love as often as I see it in the more negative emotions. It's a very low vibration, and think of it as a very deep bass note. So the bass notes, we love those bass notes. It feels good. You feel them in your body. And when you're in a band and you've got a good bass player and you've got the volume up, you can feel the note vibrate across the stage and into the audience. It just like rolls out like a wave, because it's a sound wave and it is rolling out from wherever you're creating it. Well, people do the same thing, like an instrument. You pluck a string on a guitar, you can even see it moving. And then when it's no longer making a sound, it's still. Well, we're never still. So we're making lots of noises, all different colors. Our emotions are giving us our colors. But if you're still looking at the Earth, the round planet, and the first band is red, that's our lowest bass note. But then you move out a little bit, and the note gets a little higher and a little lighter, and it's orange. And then so on and so forth with yellow. And then we start to get other blendings of colors when we start to get around the heart chakra, or the heart center, because that is, strangely enough, it's kind of like a watermelon tourmaline. It is pink, it is green, and there's a high heart that is teal because it's a blending of the higher chakra and the heart of the green. So there's lots of color in our system. We just don't see it with our human eyes. Energetically, though, everybody around us is feeling it. And when you want to raise a vibration without saying a word, you could actually sit in a room and start thinking about something good. You lighten your own vibe, and anything around you is going to start to feel the same resonance. So don't let your focus drift to something down. You're going to stay up. So you can just sit there and think about playing with your dog or your cat, or getting an award, or having a really great song come out, anything that makes you go, yeah, you know. And even if you're not really grinning outwardly, your insides are, and that is felt. So we are sensing people and things. That's why someone can be across the room and you can either be attracted to them or repelled. Go, I don't want to go near that person. I don't know why, but I don't want to know why. We always feel things like that. That is your energy sensing system. It's how we're built. It's how everything here is built. Everything's got its own vibration. And as medicine is moving forward, we are seeing that. And now vibration is used to break up kidney stones, sonic blasts. We are using waves, invisible waves, to change our world and the world around us. So what people need to understand is that we have the exact same power, but even more so, because we don't need to develop any machinery to amplify our vibration. We just have to get in the zone. And people talk about having writer's block, which I have never really experienced. I have reached lots of places where I just needed to stop writing for the moment. But I've never felt really blocked, because when I sit down to write, if I haven't started anything, I'm just looking at a blank page, that might take a day longer or so. But sometimes it's just like any thought coming to your head. You start typing, and you let your mind work with that thought and just go on, and you start telling a story. And if you're relaxed, if you feel good, you will find the words just pouring out of your fingertips. You may not have had a clue what you were going to write that day, but you don't necessarily need a writing prompt, which you can get if you want to write and you want something to get you started. You can go, okay, writing prompt of the day. There's cool websites that assist writers in that way and help stimulate their imaginations. So it's there are so many different ways we can do it. But when you're in a happy mood, the flow is going to just come. And there's no block. So I have had times when, like with the first book especially, because like I had to rewrite that book so many times for a few different reasons. Sometimes just the software going out of date, or the computer upgrades with different disks, and everything had to be transferred by hand because we didn't have the ability to do certain things, from the home base anyway. So I was just blocked for a little bit and when I say a little bit, I'm saying like hours. I would just get up and hit my music. So if I couldn't make conversation sound organic in the story, I'd go play music, and I'd be working on the story in my head. I was still on Omaris, still designing things, but now I was in a little point, like the twins' high school graduation, which I don't write about in the book, but in my head, because I'm with the family and I'm watching things go over 17 years, I'm with them, so the story's still going on in different levels in my head, but it's just not going in the book. I did end up writing 7 songs for the first book, which was great, because actually the one I always start my show with is the number one song for my book, The Edge of Remembering, book of the same title. But now I have come up with a title for the third book. Originally, years ago when I first started thinking about it, it was The Last Magic Carpet. Apparently other people have used that theme just too much, and it's nothing like what mine is, so I don't want any old associations or ideas attached to my new carpet idea. And I'm really excited about it. So yeah, when I sit down and start to write, it just goes, it just flows. And I write until I'm too tired to write. Usually my hands give out, or my butt from sitting. Well, those are certainly going to be the end of the year. 2025. I can't believe it's been 25 years since I wrote my first book. The 25th anniversary. I finished it in the year of the Golden Dragon, which it was just so appropriate. It's like, I didn't plan this, but this is cool. Because, Nomaris has got a dozen dragons living on it. I wish I had some more of these little pads. It's like the perfect size for the ones I give away. I like to go out with a couple, 3 little paintings in my wallet. Because, you see people that are just not having a great day, and you hand them something they're not expecting. And you see their energy shift, and I just love that. I would just spend my life doing shit like that if I had the money and the energy. It does entail a little walking around. I'm not always up for that anymore. I'm getting better though. Okay, last one. I've got to get some of these big ones again. Heat them up in the microwave. Really make the caramel gooey and stretchy. I watched a video done at the place where they're made. The original one in the factory. And watched them make one. Watched Max Miller make one. He's so sweet. Tasting History, one of my favorite channels on YouTube. Of course, it came up at the same time, or near the same time I bought my first ones. So I love seeing how things are made. I'm a sucker for factory videos. I've worked in a few. I like factories. I know not everybody feels the same way. But I made some cool stuff in the factories. And I learned a lot of different kinds of things working in different factories. I'm not saying I'd want my lifetime in a factory. For some of those jobs, the boredom would kill me. But others where the toxicity could kill you. But generally speaking, like every factory I have ever worked in or been in, just to look at it, tour it, fascinating. There's always something fascinating about how things are put together. One of my first factory jobs, my first factory job was winding coils, electric coils. And, well, let's see. No, the first one wasn't winding. I learned how to wind, and then I got a promotion, ended up teaching people how to wind. 6 different operations. When I first started on was an assembly line, where we had a little machine with little pots of solder that were always melted. So you can imagine how hot the factory was. In the middle of winter with windows broken out all over the place. It was always over 100 degrees in there. And you couldn't use fans directly on you because it would cool the top of the solder. And then when the wires would dunk into the solder, it would be a cold joint, meaning it looks like it's done, but it's not, and it won't conduct any electricity. So I got to learn the insulating coils and all kinds of stuff. It was fun. I really enjoyed that. But, like I said, would I want to do that my entire life? No. No, there wasn't a single job in that factory I would have wanted to stay at other than a supervisor. And even that, like once you have all the processes down, it's boring. My supervisor, though, did some interesting stuff. She was very skilled, and she got the cool jobs when somebody wanted to create an entirely different kind of coil or transformer. She would build the prototypes. I got to sit and watch her for a while. Matter of fact, she gifted me these tweezers. I have had these tweezers since 1976. Anti-acid, stainless, anti-magnetic, made in Switzerland. And they're very fine because I worked with some very fine copper wire, like hair, but she was one that wound it. Beautiful stuff. So you never know it's going to be staying with you for year after year. Okay, should we do a backdrop before I do those? I got an idea. I need something else. I need another table over here. this winter date up a little. There we go. Some enchanted evening. I have had a lot of strange music in my head lately. Usually it goes with whatever I'm writing. It's not this time. I'm not writing a romance story, but all these romantic songs have been coming up, and I'm not in a romance or looking for one, so the brain likes to work in codes. I'm trying to figure this one out. Like, or well, actually, I'm waiting to see, what's this about? Pink, pink, pink. One of the things I love most about living north, in the north, are the crisp winters, the mornings or the days they're bright, it's sunny, the air is super crisp and clean, and things sparkle. It seems like everything is just sparkling because of the frost, you know? Everything is sparkling. I missed that when I lived in California. But my husband at the time and I used to go up to Big Bear for Thanksgiving or around Thanksgiving because they frequently got a little snow at that time of year. So we'd go up in the mountains and enjoy some frost and the feeling of winter, you know, it felt good for New Englanders transplanted to the other coast. But then we would drive down the mountain and it'd be 90 degrees and sunny. And you'd see all the palm trees instead of the pine trees. It was a interesting transition, and I enjoyed it. No, I need a silver. I think we're gonna go for the big one. Ooh. Maybe we will go with number 3. I was so excited to get this set, to have a large option here. It's very, very dry, very compact. So we'll let the water help me a little first. Now this is the color nail polish I'm looking for. Silver and gold together. Alright, let you sit there and moisten that up for me for the next use. We're going to go ahead and use you. Okie dokie. I'm gonna stop that one now. Let you rest. Okay. Now. I'm jumping the gun a little bit with the holiday looking ones, but I have like 30 people that I want to gift. But we need to catch up with Gloria and Harvey. So, do I want to tape these up? It does make such a nice clean edge. What if we do something different? Yep, little tape. Uh-oh. Starting to get that 5 o'clock shadow or 3 o'clock shadow. Oh, can I use all of this? That'd be great. It's usually useless by then. Oh, that's the one problem with mica. It doesn't soak into paper. It sits on the top of it. I don't like it. There we go. Okay, you dry. I'm just piling them up here to dry. I'll square off another one. Edgar, how are you, darling? Are you having a good weekend? I am completely out of small paintings to mail my two beloved people in nursing homes. So I am trying to make sure I have something to go in the mail on Monday. So let me show you what I finished, or mostly finished. I might change my mind. That was the other day. I just finished this one today. And just did the background here. And working on a background here. Of course, you know, you gotta let it dry. And taping off another one. Oh, it sounds like you need to take a little walk. Or do some exercise of some kind. Thank you. Did you know that by exercising and getting your blood pumping, it fills your brain with oxygen? And you have breakthroughs. You need a break. You've been at it too long. You hit a wall, you need a break, and then it'll come to you. So I'm getting backgrounds ready for doing autumn ones, pumpkins, mice. In fact, I've got one underneath there getting flat that I'll pull out in a minute. And so I'm just doing some backgrounds real quick because tomorrow morning we're going to be here at 10:30 Eastern Time. Oh, maybe we'll throw some sparkly stuff. No, I gotta put the pencil down first. Watercolor pencil does not like to stick to metallic paint, so we leave that for last. Okay, you dry. Let's get another one. Get these all set up. Square ones, good. Okay. I feel bad that I went offline for a week. I don't feel bad about that, but when I go offline, I don't paint. So I did do other stuff, obviously, but I did not sit down to paint, and I mailed out the last of everything, and then I also, like I said, I like to keep them in my wallet, small ones in my wallet, and go out. If I see somebody who needs a lift, I give them a painting. And it helps lift their day. Yesterday, when I walked into this one place, the doctor there just celebrated his birthday. And now, mind you, this is in a big room with high ceiling. And so I said, oh, well, you know, I don't usually do this after your birthday, and then I sang happy birthday to him and gave him a painting. So I know his day was better. And I had one with me to give specifically to somebody who wanted a dog, but maybe, you know, the dog died or they couldn't have one. And I had that in my wallet for the right person, and I met the right person. She can't have a dog in her apartment, but she is looking forward to having a little dog when she can. So she got the right painting. Let's do these. So, did you do anything fun today at all? Eat any good food? Do anything interesting? Listen to new music? Watch a movie? Anything you can put in the uplifting pile? Today I was uplifted. Okay, we have a little sky there. I'm going to be using watercolor pencils on top of that, so I need to just get the background nice and dry. And do we want more blue? Yeah, let's do blue. And when I send them out, I know Gloria gets one, Harvey gets one. Oh, wow. But you got it done, right? Congratulations. Don't cry. Look how much you accomplished. No wonder you need a break. Can't think when you don't take a break. You have to learn to take breaks. It gives your brain a chance to absorb what you've studied. Breaks are essential to learning. Don't know if I've got enough for that. I want a smaller border. Well, we're gonna see. I couldn't find any of this smaller tape at the stores I've been to lately. I've got to get to a hardware store. Oh. Well, that's silly. Why does a break stress you? I mean, that's how the brain works. The brain needs a break. Literally, that's like going to sleep. Helps you the next day because you had that break. Rest your brain, and then it can access, it organizes and then accesses what you studied. And if you're not breaking, your brain is not getting that chance to organize what you have been putting in it. So breaks are essential for good study. I didn't say take hours long breaks. It could be too much of a break. 20 minutes is maximum. But that's good to get some fresh air, do a little dancing, get some body blood moving, and then the brain works. That's what the idea is. That's why it's a break. A break means stop. So your brain can catch up to itself. Everybody needs that. Everybody's brain works that way. Even neurodivergents have to have time for the brain to organize what it just took in. Otherwise, after a while, it doesn't make sense and you just bang your head against the wall. Which is what it sounds like you're doing today. But if you put a timer on, that's the idea. A break means do nothing. Relax. Close your eyes. Put a timer on for 15, 20 minutes, and when it goes off, you'll be able to pull yourself back into it. If you go longer than 20 minutes, that's when it's harder to go back to it. This is what they mean by work smarter, not harder. When you learn how to work with your brain, you stop doing things that are counterproductive. When was the last time you talked with your best friend? You take a break and text her. We got some blue, we got some sunny. It might be a little too bright. We'll do flowers. Coming along. Well, we're going to put a pumpkin there anyway. All right, let me do the last two. And then we'll be set for tomorrow. You called her for 4 hours. Oh, that's a good visit. That was yesterday. That's like me and my adopted son. Every other month or so we get together, we watch a movie together online, and catch up with what's going on in deeper, than what we do, little texts here and there. And we make it a day. Okay, what else could you do for 20 minutes? Have you done anything artistic today? Looked at any catalogs? Gotten any? Nope, definitely didn't get any new ideas. When you don't take breaks, you don't have time for daydreaming, you don't have time for new ideas. People who are very creative learn to take breaks, to let their batteries get refueled. Right, I want to keep these kind of bright, but I'm so tempted with winter to use some of these other colors, like the cold icy blue. We got the lavender, we got a blue lavender. Yeah, come back here. Definitely the set for a winter scene. Oh, there you go. 15 minutes of eating candy. What kind of candy? Chocolate, nuts, something chewy like a gummy bear. What's your favorite? I have a friend here in the building that came to my, well, she was a member of our positivity group, which I've just ended after 3 years. She always brings a big bowl of assorted candies, all kinds. Matter of fact, she gave me something I put on my desk. Twizzlers, Nibs candy, cherry, artificially flavored. Now Nibs, when I was a kid, mostly were just available in licorice. They were black. And I loved them. Squashy licorice. One of my favorite things when I do eat candy, which is not really all that often. Right into the tooth hole. A chocolate gummy bear? Oh my God. I didn't know they made any like that. Now I've got to keep my eyes open for that. I don't see why not, because we have chocolate licorice now. And when I first discovered that, the only people who made that was one little candy shop I used to go to in another state. They made chocolate licorice, which was like Twizzlers. That sounds... The taste is... No wonder. Natural flavor home and artificial. Corn syrup is the #1 ingredient. Ugh. That fake cherry really stays with you. So Edgar, how late are you planning on studying tonight? You have tomorrow, right? Now this has a lot of white pigment in it. And I want to do some sparkly. I'll stop when everything will be done. Ah, so you think it's going to take you all those hours to figure it out? What if you go back and figure it out in 10 minutes? You haven't figured it out yet, but you will. Do you ever ask your parents for math help? Because, I mean, they're both engineers. They should be really good at it. Oh, that was terrible candy. So you're going to try and just beat it into your head, huh? Good luck. Well, don't worry, honey. He's dead. He'll never know. It's okay to expand your brain and try something else. You're studying literature, right? You're hoping to teach it? You better explore more or you're going to be a crappy teacher. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands and thousands of books out there and thinkers. You don't want to give future students the idea that they will not have any worthwhile contributions as writers in the future or philosophers. I think I'll go with a silver lining. Yes, but isn't that what you're working toward? You're going to be exposed to many other writers and styles and thinkers in the exciting, ever-expanding world of books. Well, if you believe them over yourself, there's more than one way to reach a dream. Not everybody takes the conventional route. Don't limit yourself just because other people are trying to limit you or suggesting you're limited. That's the first poison. is believing others before we believe our hearts. What would you say is a characteristic of the best teachers? They get you excited about the material. The best teachers get you excited. Exactly. Never listen to those kinds of people. They don't know you. They don't know what you're capable of yet. You're only 15. You're hardly out in the race at all yet. You're just 15. It's a terrible time of life to be told that you can't get to your dreams. That's a lie. Outright lie. I mean, if you wanted to be a race jockey and you were 5'6", then yeah, you're not going to have that job because you're too tall at 5'6". But aside from being unable to do something physically, any dream that gets you excited and happy has the potential to become true. If it's one that can't, you will not get excited about it. You will have no passion about it. When you start to feel passion about anything, you know you're on the right track. So good for you. Do not listen to those kinds of people. Many of them have been disappointed in themselves and in their own lives and their own accomplishments. So who are they to lead you? A good teacher will always make you feel good about what you're trying to do. And very good when you have achieved it. All right. Have you had your break? You've eaten enough gummies for now? Remember, are you able to jump up and down like a jumping jack in your bedroom, wherever you study? You know what I mean, a jumping jack, right? Or skipping a rope, that kind of action, the jumping up and down. If you start to get tired and you feel like your brain has hit the block again, get up and do some jumping up and down. All right. How many gummies did it take? Well, I know you took some of a break because you're sitting here chatting, which means your attention is split. So good. All right. You won't have to stay up until 3 in the morning now. Look at that. Oh, well, get on it. If you're awake, stop by tomorrow when I'm doing the Sunday morning show. You might still be awake. Let you dry. Well, that's pathetic. Yeah, I never did like people like that. Lazy. I don't care. I'll do it right anyway. Well, I hope you do get some rest between now and then. Stay there. Sorry about that, microphone. Smallest plastic container I've ever had that had such a strange lid. That looks like brown right there. I think it is. Oh no, it's not brown. It's deep violet. This will be fun to play with soon. I saved that for the summer. Summery images. We just threw a little red balloon of hope out there. Yeah. Oh. All right, we will let that dry overnight because it's acrylic. And tomorrow we'll add some more ornaments after we see where these go. Aw, thank you. It'll be better tomorrow. And we'll add some more color to it. Okay, where do we leave off? Look at that. Oh. Come on, the other autumn-y one. There we go. Edgar, do you work on a regular desktop computer or laptop or pad? What do you work on when you're doing your work? When you tune in here? Book with the math book and Google right now. Google my best friend. Yeah, but can it give you chocolate gummies? What I was asking is, what do you use when you're here? Are you on a desktop computer? Or are you on a laptop or a pad? Is it one that folds like a laptop, or is it a full desktop companion, a full monitor, tower? Laptop, cool. ideas, ideas. Thinking, thinking, thinking. What if... Okay, those would be fine for the holidays, but what do we have for right now? Maui is having a problem coming in here. So let me see. Go back to me. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, Edgar, for my show. Now let me make sure I get this to Maui. Come here. I do not know why. All right, well, hopefully he'll be able to find it with the link. Okay, that has to dry. Before I can glue that down and turn it into one of those big balloons that float in the sky. So that'll be there for tomorrow. And then we're gonna make these into autumn trees, which seems strange, but it is autumn and I like trees. Stay there. Got another one. That's full of gold. Let's try that too. Those balloons always remind me of upside down punching bags. Okay. I'll pet you. Yeah. Maui was just looking for me too. How come you guys couldn't find me earlier? I've been on for an hour and 2 hours now. Welcome. I was getting ready to end the show. It's been on 2 hours, you know. I think 2 hours is enough for any show. How are you doing, Mr. Promoted Guy? Well, that's weird. You're subscribed to the show, right? Don't forget to leave a thumbs up for the show. You should be able to subscribe. once you subscribe, there should be a bell that you click so that you get notices. What the hell? And thank you whoever did leave the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Well, this is no good because I'm counting on people being told since I've changed channels. Maui, are you here? You guys have to subscribe to the channel and then click that little bell or you won't get notices. What? Oh. Well, crap. I guess you're going to have to log in on something else to make sure that... Yeah, I don't see that option on my phone either. I've got thumbs up or down, share, report, or clip. Oh, or save. That's no good. I don't understand it, Gary. I don't know. That is weird. I do not understand. Everywhere else I subscribe, I get a notice when they go live. Oh, I see. No notice, nothing in your lineup. Son of a bitch. Let's try an experiment. How do I make sure that people get a notice when I go live on YouTube? Encourage them to subscribe to your channel and select all notifications by clicking the bell icon next to the subscribe button. Additionally, promote your live stream in advance through community posts, which now include a notify me button, and share links to your stream across your social media, except that this is my social media. And you can manage... Oh, remind viewers that they can also manage their notification settings in their phones or browser settings to make sure YouTube notifications are enabled for their device. Ah, that might be the problem. So check on your phone, your apps, what permissions it has, because that could be the problem right there. How to turn on YouTube. Okie dokie. Let me know how that goes. Oh, a fall nor'easter to hit Massachusetts. Well, I'm very close to Massachusetts. My state butts right up against it. Now that's a lie. Trying to say which states are experiencing tourism booms. They're not. They're the ones that nobody's going to. Matter of fact, they're going out of their way to avoid them. There are a lot of garbage news here. I mean, a lot of this is not even true. What the hell? I hate the news. Google News page, ignore it. Hold on, let me see what that says. They asked me to kiss her first, and then she will release all secrets. Okay, Edgar, do the same thing. You've got to go and check your permissions. Yeah, nor'easter, but it's not going to hit as bad as it's going to hit elsewhere. We're going to get rain starting at 2 this morning, they said. I'm only hoping. Yes, he is, Doc. He absolutely is. Yeah, Google News is garbage news. Don't bother. What the hell is that doing? I don't know what I did there, but it's not viewing properly because I can only see thumbs down on my show here. So yeah, go figure that out. Yeah, it's not really news. It's garbage. If you want to get some news online, actually I'm going to recommend Midas Touch Network on YouTube. They have a whole bunch of people who are actually credentialed, who have actually studied and attended court cases and everything else. You want to catch news? Go there. Let's see. They're here on YouTube. You can get a whole lot of information from them, and there's other news stations besides Idiot Fox on YouTube. So, no, oh no. I was hoping that you would get some of that stuff out in the Pacific. Oh, Maui. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm going to put some more blue on this because we are going to be doing a thing in the sky here tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow morning is a morning show, so yeah, 10:30 tomorrow morning. That's got a little cerulean, a little different than the manganese. I'm not trying to get a blend the way I would, otherwise I would just use wet paper or make it move, but I want an actual difference there. And let's get some pink. There we go. Every morning, 5 days a week, or 7 days a week. Are you going to be able to be here for the show tomorrow, the Sunday morning show? I was eating cookies earlier that I got from TJ Maxx, I bought them after the expiration date. I didn't care. I knew it wasn't that far, and that these, like, will last. So I ate 4 of them today with my tea. Oh, I gotta put them back in the cupboard. 8 days a week. No, I need your love, boy. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. And that's about all I can do before I get hit with a copyright infringement. So, we're not going to sing. 9 days in a row. Is that in return for getting a raise? They're going to work your ass off until you drop? What's their explanation, Gary? The promotion is bullshit. That's not supposed to deprive you of days off. That company is so crooked. So you'll work how many days in a row before you get a day off? 2 weeks without a day off? Is that acceptable to you? It sounds like the manager doesn't know what she or he is doing. How can they leave you to be the only one to unload the truck? Oh, Gary, if you weren't working there, I'd be calling for a nationwide boycott of their business principles, which suck. So when a company gives you a raise, your raise was reasonable. All right? It was a reasonable raise. It was a decent enough, but it wasn't special. Oh, that's why they gave you that job? Yeah, no, that's not. And the only people who are to blame are the people in charge, which means management. That's just when I see a lot of turnover in a company, it's always the management. All right? It's always the management. They don't make their people feel like they're being treated fairly or they're getting the support they need. Bad management means unhappy employees. And if you have unhappy employees, it doesn't matter how much you pay them. Money does not make up for feeling let down by your boss. Money is not enough. Now, I do not recommend stooping to doing anything stupid, but the reason it's so stupid for management to not make sure that their people are well treated is because a hostile employee becomes a thieving employee. I was married to one. Glenn, whenever he felt he was not being treated fairly, his way of dealing with it was steal something from the company. I'm like, what? Oh yeah, I got this. I didn't think they were paying me enough, so I made sure I got my 5-finger discount. It's like, I wish I had known that before I married him, because I don't respect that behavior at all. But it does happen because people are unhappy and they want to get paid in different ways. If it doesn't matter how much you give them in their check, if you treat them like shit or their feelings don't matter, you start to feel abused and unappreciated. And then no amount of money is enough. that is where managers screw up. Yeah, that's totally not fair. And getting a raise, it's not enough of an excuse to treat you like that. Getting a raise does not mean you have to work so much harder than everybody else. It wasn't a spectacular raise. It was just a decent raise. The kind you should get every year, automatically, because of the cost of living. So don't be too impressed just because it looks good in the first paycheck. Believe me, those paychecks, just you get used to them. You go, yeah. But I didn't get a day off for 2 weeks. Somehow, where is that okay? That's not in my contract, is it? Didn't schedule. Hold on, I gotta put something on this so that it moves up so I can read it. Yeah, I'll throw some hearts your way. There we go, okay. Didn't schedule but 2 floor people. Oh my God. Yeah, come on, Gary. Your manager is no prize. I have been really fortunate because I've taken lots of jobs. As a musician, that was my #1 job. But that was self-employment and I had to work my ass off, but it was for me, so it was all right. But when you work for other people, not every job is going to be one you want to do all your life. I loved working in factories, not as a lifetime career, but for a season it would be great. Like, you know, in New England, we have harsh winters. I wasn't going to be dragging my equipment out in the snow by myself, or even with the band. It was just, no. We didn't have like a massive truck and a team to set up and drag all that equipment through the snow. So during the winter months, we got regular jobs to sustain us while we waited for the next season to roll around, and we booked in advance. So winter was my slow season, so I took other jobs. I got the wonderful experience of working for different bosses, and I know the difference between good bosses and bad bosses because of that. I've experienced people who really knew what they were doing with people. They managed things beautifully, just like when I worked for the art store. We were the biggest store around. We had an amazing client list. We were doing so well in our store that we supported the other 2. That's how well we were doing. Every year we won the annual dinner out for the staff because we always kicked ass, because we had a great management team in our store. That was why. Before that, we had a very neurotic manager, and we didn't win anything because he couldn't keep his shit together long enough to keep us together. Yeah, bad scheduling. That's all management. That's all management. If he calls out a lot, he's not dependable, he has to get notice. You have been out this many times. You are putting other people, having to make them work harder because you're not there to support, your end of it. Management is supposed to handle that, not you. That shouldn't be your grief at all. Management should be looking at it, it's like, hey, didn't show up again. No, that's not all right. That's not all right. So you're going to have to say something at some point, like really soon, to management. It's like, you know what? The scheduling here is all off. You can't have me doing this and 5 people doing that. It's not going to work out for the store. And the thing is, it's in the store's best interest to have a good manager, because happy people do a lot extra work because they are so happy. They don't mind a little bit of extra overtime that they don't get paid for. They don't mind going out of their way to help somebody in the store because they're treated well. They're shown respect. But you're not being treated well, and you're not being shown respect when they pile everything up on you. Don't get your days off scheduled in 2 weeks. That's, no. No, that's just not okay. So, I know that's something you're going to have to contend with in the not too distant future. Excuse me. Because you deserve to be treated decently. No, that's bullshit, Gary. No. They were overworking you and waiting to see how much it would take for you to complain about being unfairly burdened. Yeah, your manager is not a good manager. I'm sorry, I know that they're nicer, but they're not keeping up with the store. They're not doing what they need to do to support their employees, which means they're a shitty manager. Like I said, I know the difference now. I've worked for good and bad. Bad managers drag down the stores. Yeah, they're cutting corners. Again, who pays for that? The remaining employees who'd have to take up the slack. Yeah, obviously. But you're not a manager. Matter of fact, even when they gave you a promotion, you had to share it with somebody else. Where was that person on the truck? Well, don't get mad. Just think about how you're going to approach this when you can. They have no legal right to deprive you of your lunch break. It sounds like this is bullshit. Do you ever stand up for yourself? Exactly. This is bad to your health. You're not a kid. You're not 18 years old anymore. You have to respect yourself and demand respect from them. I mean, you can do it nicely and politely, but you have to stand up for yourself, honey. Otherwise, they're just going to keep using you this way. And by the way, as long as you're getting paid by the hour, you're not in management. Management gets a check, a set amount, and no limit on how much overtime they have to work without making any extra money. They don't get double time working holidays or anything like that. They get a check. Yeah, you don't need it. Nobody deserves to be treated that way. Nobody. At all, ever. Yeah, but they're still in business, so whoever sued them, even if they won, they didn't break the company, did they? Because the company is not about anything but making money through people signing up for their credit cards. That is their moneymaker, the credit. That's really all they're running, is that kind of a scam. Is your place like on the verge of going out of business? You can ask the managers that. Why don't you have adequate help? Are they getting ready to go bankrupt? Like so many people are right now? Don't forget, they import everything. Is there anything at all that they sell that's domestic? Because tariffs are affecting them for every import. Exactly. It's a total scam. Total scam. So when I get my annual notice that I have to spend some money on my credit card, I go down and I spend $10 and I pay it on the spot. I use the card to buy it and then I pay it. It's a smart thing to do. That way you can keep your card in case of emergency when you might need it, because that's the only reason I have it. But you don't get stuck with interest, which that's their money making deal. And that is even worse than Care Credit. Care Credit is 29% interest. Kohl's went to 29 or 30. They went way up there because of Capital One financing. Capital One is a whore. So Capital One made it go up, and I said, that's it. No more Kohl's. And I let them know why. So I'm not giving you another red penny. I will never use your charge account again. I'll go without rather than put money in your pockets. It's not so hard to do. You've discovered there are so many things that you don't need anymore. So they already got it transferred to their warehouses in this country, so they're not paying. But anything new coming in, what did Trump just say, 100% tariffs? Meaning doubling the prices? Yeah, people are going to love that. Really, we've got the world's dumbest president, most corrupt president. God, we've just got a disgusting pig for a president. Ugh. I'm so glad I don't have to eat dinner with him or even look at him every day, because I would just be sick all the time. But enough of that. Tomorrow is Sunday. We will be putting together these cards. Just something, again, just something cute to send to Gloria. Because Gloria and Harvey, mostly Gloria, they're stuck in bed. And they're not like getting a whole bunch of company or anything going on like that. No. So I want to make sure they get something from me every week. Schedule says you'll only have 1 helper tomorrow for the truck in the morning and 5 in the back. Oh, Gary. I wish there was another option for you. That is one of the problems when you're so rural. It's really hard to get a decent gig. Well, let me show you today's card of the day, because we did have one before you guys found out we were on. Today's card of the day was, nothing happens without my inviting it in. without me having invited it. I know, it's backward. I flipped it, but it just flipped it the other way, and the other option for that way was not available. When you understand the law of attraction, you're never surprised. You're never surprised by what occurs in your experience because part of you was expecting it. And once you understand that it's your expectations that help make things happen, you start to change what your expectations are. Nothing can occur in your life experience without your invitation of it through your thought. So if you want to change things at work, you're going to have to really make a big adjustment to your thinking about work, about the people you're working with, about how you're treated. You're going to have to imagine yourself being treated the way you want to be treated. You're going to have to spend at least 1 minute a day, 1 minute, just 1 minute, to get to a happy place and then go, yeah, okay, tomorrow when I go to work, it's going to be better than I expect. Tomorrow when I go to work, it's going to be happier than I thought it would be. Tomorrow when I go to work, there'll be more help than we thought there was going to be. Tomorrow when I go to work, I'm going to get some good news about my job or my help. Well, see, the thing is, just trying to be positive doesn't work because you know you're faking it. You're hoping something will happen, but part of you is not believing it will happen. You only get what you believe will happen. So when people are not surprised, it's because part of them already knew. They already accepted that it wasn't going to be any different from what they thought it would be. So if you think you're going to have an accident when you go out, you will fucking have an accident. You'll find a way to have one. But if you go out and you feel like you're safe, you're safe. You don't have any accidents. You don't even run into the worst traffic. Or if it does, it points you in a direction to avoid a problem. So when you're in the flow, you will follow things the way they need to be. But if you are thinking the worst in the back of your mind while you're trying to project positivity, it's like having a fake smile on your face. You can smile, but does it feel sincere? No, it doesn't. You're expecting things to be the way they have been instead of improving. See, the subconscious mind controls everything. When we believe we're not worthy of something, that's the level we stay at. So understanding you're worthy of everything you desire has to come first. You have to understand you're a child of God, you're a child of the universe, and you can get anything you want. Yeah, exactly. They want you to play the fake game to people who don't give a rat's ass about you, your future, your life, your loves, your hates, anything. They don't care about you. They're just using you to get the crap they want in their hands. And the company is, of course, using you to get the crap in their hands. That's the game. It's retail. That you're working for a company that doesn't deserve any respect is another problem. But you are, again, right now, you're kind of hindered by where you live. And I'm not saying move. I'm saying that other things are going to have to change before you can see things get better. Or another place open up where you could go to work instead. Yeah, they're better than you, don't you know? That attitude I saw plenty of down south. That's why one of the reasons I sent you that thing this morning, that 30 seconds, it's a good one. They don't give a shit. If they cared, they would know how to schedule. They would know how to be good managers. They don't care. Don't expect a company to care for you. They never will. All right? Only very rarely when they have when all the employees have an actual share in the business, they're going to care. But if it's somebody that won't even let you buy stock and invest in your own future, no, they want to keep you a slave laborer. Duh. They don't care about anything about you other than you show up and do the job they can do. Nothing else matters to them, absolutely nothing else. Never believe otherwise, or you fool yourself into being complacent. No, you don't matter to them, because the problem is, Gary, it's not highly skilled labor. It will not take them very long, 30 days, and they'll be able to train someone to do the same things you do, right? 30 days. And you'll know everything you got to know. They tell you what to do, so it's not like you have to plan it all out yourself. They'll train you in any area they need you, and then, all right, as soon as you become a problem, you're out the door. So, no, there's no loyalty there to the employees, and there's not even really any loyalty to the customers. They just want to get them on that credit system so that they can start making that extra money. That's it. Their investment is not in the people. Their investment is in more money. So, you know, what are you going to do? If you can't leave, you have to find ways of coping. And like I said, one way of coping is to think about things differently so that things go your way more often. It's a training of the brain. It's not something you just get overnight. You do deserve better, though, Gary. Never, ever forget that for 1 second. Most people don't go after their dreams because a part of them feels like they don't deserve success, and that's what holds them back. You were born deserving. What other people judge has nothing to do with you. All right, I can't touch that again until tomorrow. So we're gonna go. That's like asking someone to be insane. Oh no, you can't. Yeah, you're just, no. You're working there just because you need the money, not because you love it. Right? If you were able to get a different job that treated you better, wouldn't you go? What's the best benefit they offer? What would you consider the best benefit? I'm back here. I know. Listen, you gave it your all. They don't appreciate it, and they never will. That's the problem, Gary. They want people to work for them like it's the only job in the world, and they want your loyalty to them, but there's no loyalty to you. It's not a reciprocal thing. You're only valuable as long as you do exactly what they ask you to do. And then if you stop doing it, you're out of a job, right? There's no questions there. You just don't show up for a few days in a row, you're at risk of losing your job. Well, the health benefits are you get some insurance, right? Is it a good plan? Do you even know how good it is versus other options? But you do have, like I said, right now you're kind of like backed into a corner. You're in a place that doesn't have a lot of options for jobs. But that's why it's important that you don't think so much about the health insurance as much as taking care of your health so you don't need the insurance. Well, I want you to give some thoughts about things you like to do. Not jobs, just things that you like to do. And every day, spend a little time thinking about things that you like to do. Even if you can't get out and do them right now, I want you to spend a little daydream time thinking about the things that you love to do. Because if you can just sit there and be comfortable daydreaming about things you want and where you want to go, people you want to meet, etc., daydream. That every time you do that, you're opening the door to some of that coming into your life. You don't have to know how, just trust. You have seen the universe work and make sure that your back was covered, even when you thought it wasn't at first. You're still here to tell the tale. All right, that's a fun thing. Good, good. And when you go around with a lot of good vibes, just busy, feeling good, thinking good thoughts, the world changes subtly around you. Things happen that you don't see happening. And suddenly there's an option for you. Suddenly there's a way out. A new idea comes to you. Yeah, that's important. You have to take time every day to do something that you enjoy, but at least 1 minute a day, just sit there daydreaming and a good feeling. Get yourself there, 1 minute a day. That's it. Do it when you first wake up in the morning before you get out of bed. Do you want to work at night? Ah. Uh-huh. Well, there you go. Now you know why you're sharing the title. Well, I'd say that she shouldn't get the same raise as you got. Because she's not doing what you're doing. They have you doing all the hard shit. So yeah. You gotta think about it in a good way. Oh, well, that's pretty hard. Yeah, I know. Well, you know what? The South is not very kind to women who have to work, so I'm glad that she got something that she can work with. It's still not fair that you do all the hard and heavy shit, but you need to get more support in that. And if you're supposed to be the coordinator, then you definitely need to be able to coordinate somebody to be your assistant. Well, did you ask? Why, you're the one that's got to ask the questions. Like, what am I getting for this? What's my new paycheck going to look like? And if you work 2 weeks in a row, it's not going to be a realistic paycheck, is it? It's going to be a 2-week paycheck. Or are you getting one every week? How are they doing it for you so you know how much 1 week pays? When somebody gives you news about your money, you're the one that has to follow up. I never had that problem. My boss has always told me straight out what I was going to be getting. This is going to be $20 a week more in your paycheck. Oh, yay! You get paid every Thursday? So, your last Thursday was no different from the week before? We do not assume with our paychecks. We rely on those paychecks. Assume nothing. Trust no one. You have to ask. You got to get it in writing. Can you write down how much I'm going to get? And then make sure it matches when you get your check. They should know that. Before they offer or authorize a raise, they already know what it's going to look like right across the board. How much tax is being taken out for each category, how much you're going to net. So they know all that. I think we got to do one more long line, and then we're going to go take a break until tomorrow. I got ripped off by an employer when I was 18 because I was naive and I'd been on the street and I did not know how people got paid because the only work I'd ever done up until then was under the table because I was working underage. So I got cash every weekend. I got $50 a week. That was pretty good for a high school kid because it wasn't like I worked full time. But then when I went out in the world and I did have a full-time job, they wanted to know what I'd made before, and I said, well, I was making $50 a week. Guess what I got paid? Oh, and they told me that they were paying my taxes. They weren't. Everybody clocks out for lunch, so that's not unusual. You don't get paid for your lunch hour, but they have to supply you with that lunch hour. So it's not even a full week. It's not even a full-time job. It's just enough jobs that make it impossible for you to get another decent job, even if there was one around the corner, because you would need to devote too many hours. Yeah, I bet. Well, you have to protect yourself, not the company. The company is making millions and millions and millions of dollars. And the CEOs are making millions of dollars. They're making thousands of times more than what their laborers are making. So don't feel guilty about wanting to have your needs met. You're supposed to, and you deserve it. Oh, I know, but we're not going to let them have that, are we? That's why they're trying to block elections. Not only will we not let the laborers get abused this way, there's going to be a lot of people going to jail. Oh yeah, Doc, what do you think? Yeah, that's not okay, Gary. They're not even allowing you to make a living, and you have to talk to them about it. You have the right to make a living. You're self-supporting. You have to pay. You have taxes. You have a mortgage. Or even if the mortgage is paid off, you still have property taxes. You still have to make insurance for your building, because if your house burns down, you need to have coverage. So you have to pay for all that stuff. You need a new refrigerator with a good freezer. You can't afford that. So, no, that's not living, you're just surviving. You need to imagine better for yourself, honey. And I know right now that's really hard because so much stuff is falling apart in this country with this presidency. Jared Kushner, that piece of shit, bought out EA with the Syrian government. You know, the people that killed an American journalist and cut him up into pieces and dissolved them in acid? Those people. Yeah, look, you need things. And right now is a bad time to buy any of that because the tariffs are so high, they're going to just make it impossible to afford those things. So, yeah, right now you're forced to make do while the people in charge of it all are making off with all of our money. So yes, of course there's a revolution on, it's already happening. It is just a reminder, people, anybody listening, October 18th is the No Kings March. Look up a rally in your neighborhood and, if at all possible, attend. It's on a Saturday. It's next Saturday, in fact, a week from today. They usually only last 2 hours, so it's not like you're going to be out there all day, no matter what the weather is. Last time I was out there with my umbrella, and I wrote my sign on my umbrella because it was raining. I couldn't handle an umbrella and a sign, so my sign is on my umbrella. It's very possible, Gary. It's very possible, and we don't want that to happen. That's why there was so much objection when it was found out he owns it. The guy that got $2 billion with no experience in investments. Yeah. The Trump family has just been screwing everybody over. I agree, Doc. I totally agree. I believe they should all be arrested and put on trial for treason, including Melania with her open phone to Putin. What the fuck? He's trying to destroy our country through Trump, so no, I'm not okay with that. But anyway, let's not get into the politics because I have to eat, and I like a nice settled stomach to enjoy my food when it's time. We need to have higher thoughts, because we can't change anything through sitting around feeling bad for ourselves. Self-pity does not land well with the universe. We have to see the best possible outcomes. We have to see them and believe that they're possible, and they are. And if you have any doubt that people are resisting, you need to check out Midas Touch Network here on YouTube, because they're showing up the cases against this administration and the ones that are winning. So there's a lot of people. Remember, we're 430 million people in this country right now. Only 30 million of them support Trump. 300 million don't. You're not alone. No matter what they make it look like, because the news media is terrified of saying anything anti-Trump. I don't have a problem with it. He's scum, I'll say it. But I'm also an ex-New Yorker, and I knew about him back in the 70s. So no, he's nothing new. He was garbage back then. He just got away with being a jokester because he had so much money. That was it. No money. People tolerated him because of the money. Yes. Please lay down, relax, think positive things. When I say positive thoughts, I'm just saying focus on things that make you happy, ideas. If you can't come up with anything, look up something funny. And if you're lacking and you really have hit a wall, text me and I'll send you something. No, money does not make you a good person. But having a lot of money only shows what your character is. It brings out your true character. That's why some people, they say, oh, money changed him. No, it didn't. Money doesn't change you. It changes what you own. It doesn't change you as a person. If you have a crappy character and you tend to step on people when you feel better than them, you're a crappy person. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Once you get the money to do it more like Trump does, it doesn't make him a good person. It just makes him a rich asshole. Other people, they win. Look at the person who just dedicated another $42 million to help DEI. All right? There's lots of people fighting. MIT just talked back and said, no, we're not going along with this. You want to deprive us of funds. You're not legally okay with that, and we're not okay with it, but we're not changing our policy to suit your administration, because he's bribing everybody. Do what I say or I'm going to cut off your funding. Do what I say. You want some for a nest egg too, because you never know when something's going to fall through your roof, or anything could happen, Gary. You want to have a nest egg. What if you get sick and you lose 3 weeks of work? And they're not going to give you 3 weeks worth of money. You have to have something to fall back on. So no, just getting by is not okay. We're conditioned to think that's enough, and that's okay. It's not okay. If the rich people want us to feel like it's okay, I could make it by, well, they go out and buy extra islands and mansions and build skyscrapers for their money, with your money. So no. It's not okay to just be scraping by. That's what the billionaires want you to think is okay. You scrape by, we get it all. You scrape by, you save up for 2 years so you can have a wedding. I just went and rented the entire city of Venice for my wedding. So it's a bit of a difference there, all right? You don't have to be greedy. You're not a greedy person. But you do need to have some extra money. You need to know that you can fill your fridge without going broke. That you can fill your gas tank without having to cry. All right? You deserve that. You work hard. You work as much as they will let you work. So we have to stop being okay with just getting by. That's the conditioning. We don't need that. We need to do better for each other, for ourselves. I know what it's like to just get by. I've been forced into that situation. But it doesn't mean it's okay. Oh, I don't know. I think a few people could use the guillotine, don't you, Doc? I don't think it's going to get quite that bad, but we've got a Qatari military base they're going to put in Illinois against the desires of most of the country. In fact, against the desire of everybody in the country except the people supporting Trump for some reason. Some of them think that's okay to have a foreign base on our soil on the border of Canada. The plan is to bully Canada. So no. We have madmen and traitors at the helm. So there will be a revolution. How bad it gets, where it goes, it's impossible to say right now. The only way to prevent a revolution is to get rid of Trump. I sweat away every moment and feel lightheaded the whole day. You can't let that be your reality. How is that? Is life worth living if you sweat every day? I agree. I totally agree. And like I said, right now, what we're looking at is a Democrat was elected in Arizona, and the Republicans are refusing to swear her in. But the thing is, more and more Democrats are winning elections. We just won another one for a mayor in Alaska. One that was a Republican stronghold is now flipped completely to Democratic. So the change is at hand, but don't forget to vote. There's an election this November, and then there's going to be the big one the following November. But this November, when we make local change, we make bigger change. It has to start on the local level. Your school boards, your local judges, your sheriffs, all of these people. You have to make sure that you're on your side, not on the fascist side. Oh, yeah, that's not okay. That's very unhealthy. And if you are sweating to the point of lightheadedness, you're low on your electrolytes and you're at risk for having a heart attack. You have to keep that up, Gary. You have to keep your fluids up. Not just plain water, because that's not going to rehydrate you. You have to have electrolytes, or you will fall. I know that lightheaded feeling because my cancer gives me major sweats. And I know when I'm low on my fluids. If I'm lightheaded, if I get up in the morning, I don't get out of bed until I've finished a bottle of water with electrolytes in it. You have to take care of yourself first because you're all you've got. It goes for both of you. Will there be friends and support and all that? Yeah, sure. But you're responsible for you and your cats. You have to be there for them, and you've got to be there for you before you're there for anybody else. So you've got to look after your own bottom line. You need to know how much a week you're actually going to get paid. You need to know what's the future with your hours. You have a life you need to live. You're not just a little automaton. You're not their robot. Yeah, you better stay on those fluids. You have to. You hurt your head, didn't you, the last time you passed out? You shouldn't be passing out. Period. That means something's wrong. So you can't let that happen. You have to be taking care of yourself, Gary. There's no other answer for that. No one else is looking after you. Your boss obviously isn't. They're overburdening you. They're overworking you. It's on purpose. You have to speak up. Oh, yeah, I know. That way you don't feel bad when you try to screw over old people and giving them the credit card. Don't think, just do. We don't want you to think about anything or you'll quit. Because you won't want to work for us because we're bad people. Ignorance won out when Reagan became president. America showed how stupid it was. Yeah, and they didn't know what caused it, did they? Did you go through any great testing? No. So who's going to take care of you if you had another seizure? If you passed out? Who's going to be there for you? That's why you need a nest egg. No, they didn't know. And they didn't make much of an effort to figure it out, did they? But a young man like you passing out, that's important. It means something. And they didn't even really go into investigating it, so I have to wonder how good your insurance is. Because if you had good insurance, usually the doctors can't wait to put you into a test. What I'm saying is, look, things are always going to come up because that's life. We're here for challenges. The challenges what make us work harder towards our goals. I know you weren't drunk. That was the last thing on my mind. I never even thought that. The point is, you have to rely on yourselves, just like I have to rely on myself. Yes, it's wonderful when we have neighbors who can help us out, but there's not always there. And Gary, you're in a private house. If something happened to you, nobody would know for days. Do you have anybody that would come over if they didn't see you go out of your house for a day? They'd probably just mind their own business, as they tend to do down there. They don't see you for a few days? Are they knocking on your door to see if you're okay? Probably not. Right? As I say, it's good to know your neighbors because we rely on our neighbors at some point, especially in emergencies. We need to know who our neighbors are. And that's the point. This is why you have to do better for yourself. That's why you don't want to just get by. You need to do better than just getting by. Because who's going to be there for you? And if they want to give you a hard time at work about anything that you need, you've got to remind them, like, hey, I'm on my own. There's nobody I can turn to help me out if something goes wrong. I have to protect my own bottom line. When more people start demanding that, that is when the corporations are going to be forced to make changes. And they're not going to make changes in your favor until they're forced to. Because they're too profitable by screwing you. That is the way it is now. And that is what the current oligarchy is all about. That's why this isn't a Democrat versus Republican war. It's the rich wanting to completely use up and kill the poor, use up our resources, steal everything we've got so they keep getting richer. That's the real war. It's not political. It's money. So, yes, you owe it to yourself to defend your bottom line, to make sure you're safe. Because nobody's going to do it. No one else is going to do it. Not a damn person. Not in this current political environment. Because the rich are in control. And they want to keep in control. That's their bottom line. And having said all that, I don't want to leave you on a depressing note. The power is still with the people. And there's lots of examples out there of how to fight back, how to protect yourself. But the thing I sent you to today was about personal defense. When people say, oh, you're just being too sensitive, or oh, that was just a joke. Can't you take a joke? Those are not good things to say to people. So you know what it feels like to have them say it to you. So what I sent you was what you say in return when people say those stupid ass passive aggressive and narcissistic things to you. I thought it was so well done in so quick a time. I had to share it with you too, because I know that you've taken a lot of shit in your lives. I know you've been through it. I don't believe anybody's got the right to do that to you. Well, when somebody makes certain kinds of jokes, it's not really a joke, it's a put down. You know the difference when you feel it. You know when it's an insult. But instead of, oh, it's just a joke. No, those are insults, and you're not supposed to stand there and laugh like it's okay for them to say those things to you. So, because of course, it's sometimes a boss saying these things, you need to know how to respond without causing a problem. Well, the world is not a joking matter, but there's plenty of things to joke about. There's plenty of things to laugh about. The world has not come to an end. We have trouble here, and there's trouble everywhere, and there's always some trouble brewing somewhere. The point is what's going on in your own life, and what you can do to maintain what you've got and improve on it. It's not about everybody else. But when people insult you to your face, you don't have to take it. But you have to have a good response. Yeah, look, I am not looking for fights, but I'm not going to back down from one, because that's not my nature. Now, I mean, I'm not going to take on a 250-pound man in full body armor and a gun. I'm not stupid. But I'm also one of those people that will wait and wait and wait until I can do what I have to do. So, listen, we don't have to plan our lives waiting for opposition. There's opposition always somewhere. The point is, what can you do to improve your thinking? What can you do to improve your feelings? What can you do to improve your world for you? That's it. You need to focus on that. And like the people that come to this show have for the last 18 years in general been the kind of people who tend to be kind, who tend to be loving, who tend to be supportive. And yes, right, there is no spoon. There is no spoon. But it's hard to believe that when you need one to drink your soup. Everything we want to do here is possible if we believe it. I'm not going to say you're going to sprout wings, but the idea that you could believe that you will, as fun as it might be, you're only going to see that in superhero movies, because you will never convince yourself as a human that you're just going to suddenly, as an adult, sprout wings. There is nothing that you can do to convince yourself of that, so it's not going to happen. Unless you're in a virtual world and you sprout wings. My little red balloons are symbols of hope, that no matter how bleak the landscape, you can find something to hold on to for you. Not hope in a negative way, like a desperate way, but real hope. Because there's lots of light out here. There's lots of lights. You're a light when you're focused on the light. But if you're going to focus on all the crap, you're only going to make your own light dimmer. So can you change? Can you change? Yes, we change all the time. Can we change the world? Yes, we can, one person at a time. We really do. We make change all the time. So if we just stop listening to the naysayers, oh, that'll never change. Yes, it will. History has proven it, that we have had nothing but change. That is the constant. Change is the constant, which means as bad as it gets, if you can sit there for a while and imagine it being good, you have just countered that energy to a certain degree. I'm not saying live in denial. I'm saying find the good. Focus on stuff that makes you feel good. Nothing changes if you're just going to sit there being miserable. Well, that's all right. That makes you feel good. That's good advice. So not a problem. I'm due myself. I am due to make myself something to eat and go visit the kitty cat down the hall. Give her a little mushing, petting. Her mommy will be back tomorrow. I already cleaned the litter box. I think she's constipated. Okay, well, I would probably write something on these. Well, I'll write on the back. One for Gloria, one for Harvey. I don't know who that one is for. Tomorrow we will work on the autumn ones. So we got a couple of Christmas ones ready, almost. I'll probably write something up there. But we're just getting ready to get ready for the season. And those are lighthearted. And tomorrow we will work on our October paintings. That's wintry. Tomorrow. So we'll be back tomorrow at 10:30 in the morning. And if you have not gotten the signal things to work, notice things, make sure you're subscribed. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. God, I hate nagging people about that. But algorithm thing. And remember to allow notifications. If you're going through your phone, you need to make sure that YouTube, the app, has permissions to send you notices so that you will know when I'm on. So I'll definitely be on tomorrow. If you don't get a notice, then you missed something in the button area. But until then, my darlings, thank you for hanging out with me, listening to various rants and watching me make various messes. I'll see you tomorrow. I hope you bring your art supplies with you, or at least a nice hot cup of coffee.